A sudden little river crossed my path, as unexpected as a serpent comes. No sluggish tide, congenial to the glooms. This, as it frothed by, might have been a bath for the fiend's glowing hoof, to see the wrath of its black eddy bespate with flakes and spumes. So petty, yet so spiteful. All along, low scrubby alders kneeled down over it. Drenched willows flung them headlong in a fit of mute despair, a suicidal throng. The river which had done them all the wrong, whatever that was, rolled by, deterred no whit. Which, while I forded, good saints, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek, each step, or feel the spear I thrust to seek for hollows, tangled in his hair or beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but oh, it sounded like a baby's shriek. Glad was I when I reached the other bank. Now for a better country, vain presage. Who were the strugglers? What war did they wage? Whose savage trample thus could pad the dank soil to a plash? Toads in a poisoned tank, or wild cats in a red-hot iron cage. The fight must so have seemed in that fell cirque. What penned them there, with all the plain to choose? No footprint leading to that horrid muse, none out of it. Mad brewage set to work in their brains, no doubt, like galley slaves the Turk, pits for pastime, Christians against Jews. And more than that, a furlong on, why there, what bad use was that engine for, that wheel or brake, not wheel, that harrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of Tophet's tool, on earth left unaware, or brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. Then came a bit of stubbed ground, once a wood, next a marsh it would seem, and now mere earth, desperate and done with. So a fool finds mirth, makes a thing, then mars it, till his mood changes, and off he goes, within a rood. Bog, clay and rubble, sand and stark black dirt. Now blotches rankling, colored gay and grim, now patches where some leanness of the soils broke into moss or substances like boils. Then came some palsied oak, a cleft in him like a distorted mouth that splits its rim gaping at death and dies while it recoils. And just as far as ever from the end, not in the distance, but the evening, not to point my footstep further. At the thought, a great black bird, Apollyon's bosom friend, sailed past, nor beat his wide-winged dragon-penned, that brushed my cap, perchance the guide I sought. For, looking up, aware I somehow grew, spite of the dusk, the plain had given place all round to mountains, with such name to grace mere ugly heights, and heaps now stolen in view. How thus they had surprised me. Solve it, you. How to get from them was no clearer case. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief happened to me, God knows when, in a bad dream perhaps. Here ended then progress this way, when in the very nick of giving up, one time more came a click, as when a trap shuts, you're inside the den. Burningly it came on me all at once. This was the place. Those two hills on the right, crouched like two bulls, locked horn in fight, while to the left, a tall scalped mountain, dunce, dotard, a dozing at the very nonce, after a life spent training for the sight. What in the midst lay but the tower itself, the round squat turret, blind as the fool's heart, built of brown stone, without a counterpart in the whole world. The tempest's mocking elf points to the shipman thus, the unseen shelf he strikes on, only when the timbers start. Not see, because of night perhaps? Why, day came back again for that, before I left. The dying sunset kindled through a cleft. The hills, like giants at a hunting lay, chin upon hand to see the game at bay. Now stab and end the creature, to the heft! Not here? When noise was everywhere, it tolled, increasing like a bell, names in my ears of all the lost adventurers, my peers, how such a one was strong, and such was bold, and such was fortunate, yet each of old lost, lost. One moment knelled the woe of years. There they stood, ranged along the hillsides, met to view the last of me, a living frame for one more picture. In a sheet of flame I saw them, and I knew them all, and yet dauntless the slughorn to my lips I set, and blew. Childe Roland to the dark tower came,